My name's Andy with NatureScape Aquariums. This will be my first video on this channel. NatureScape Aquariums kind of references my passion for recreating nature inside the aquarium. As everyone that's in the aquarium hobby knows, problems occur, things happen in your tank, and my philosophy has always been, rather than finding quick fixes or solutions that might come about via technology, I prefer to use natural things. So we get some algae bloom, find out what fish or maybe some snails or shrimps or something to deal with that situation, rather than scrubbing, let's say. I kind of just let things go for the most part. Anyway, the point of this video is to talk about my favorite fish in my collection. This is the second time I've owned these guys, and that is the Steatocranus Irvinei. Alright, so here they are, and you may have noticed I just called these guys Steatocranus Irvinei. That is actually incorrect. They recently, just within the last couple months, had a name change. Their name now is Paragobiocichla Irvinei. And it's interesting. I have a book, West African Cichlids. The cichlids of what fishes of Western Africa. And the author, Anton Lembauge, makes reference to the fact that they probably don't belong in Steatocranus, and in 1976 is actually when they changed it. Previously, they were known as Paragobiocichla Irvinei, and so this most recent change is basically just reverting from when they put them into the Steatocranus group, which they didn't belong to. Anyway, I have 6 Irvinei in this tank. I've had them for a couple months, so this tank, as you can see, we had some milting crinum in the back. It's definitely got new tank syndrome. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I've got 6 in this tank. When I purchased them from Wet Spot, they were young enough to where they were pretty much unsexable. At this point, they've grown up, and I can kind of tell what I've got. And it seems I have four males, 2 females, which is not really a ratio I particularly like. This group is fascinating, though. You can kind of see that male there is kind of the king of the tank currently. He's a bit of a bully. I mentioned this is the second time I've owned these guys. This group is significantly more aggressive than the group I had previously. I had 5 in a 40 breeder previously, and they lived a peaceful life. I've got 6 in this tank, and it is definitely not as peaceful as I would like, and it's mainly because of this guy. This guy runs a tight ship, and he doesn't like anyone in the middle of the tank. He chases up anyone that shows their face. So as these guys get older, I will probably end up taking out 2 males and kind of keep 4 2 males, 2 female ratios. Or if I develop a breeding pair, they might get the whole place to themselves. We'll just kind of see how things develop. As you can see, a lot of them have darkened up, but for instance, this guy still has his juvenile coloration. There's a piece of milted crinum floating around. I'll have to get that out. This tank is going to get a little bit of a cleaning here shortly, and I'll show you that. I'll talk about these guys, and then I'm going to do a bit of a cleanup, little water change, and then I'll feed them, and you guys can see that as well. But first, we'll talk about these guys. So it's interesting. Like I mentioned previously, This is the second time I've owned these guys. The first batch I had was from Guyler Aquatics, and they were very skittish. Very skittish. Eventually they came around where they would recognize me and they'd come out for food. But anyone else that came to take a look, and they were hiding. They were not coming out for anybody. These are not that. They are not shy at all. And I don't know if I should attribute that to the other group. They both were tank raised, but maybe they were more of a first generation, whereas these guys are a few generations in. I don't know, but these guys aren't scared nearly as much as the other ones. At the same time, these are more aggressive to each other. So I don't know exactly what the dynamic is there, why that is. Maybe 6 is the tipping point. I had 5 in a 40 breeder. This is 6 in a 40 breeder. Maybe that's just one too many. It also could be the ratio, 4 males, 2 females. My other tank, I think, was 2 males, 3 females, which is a much nicer ratio. But yeah, I've also noticed some different behaviors from the fish in this tank. I never noticed algae grazing on my first batch, but these guys are always grazing on the algae. You'll notice this guy right here is doing it right now. They love eating the algae off the rocks. It's not a behavior I ever saw in my other batch, and I'm not sure why. I suspect that is a normal, natural behavior, but maybe it was just something about my other tank. So I definitely leave some algae in here because they love to graze on it. I was getting some algae growing on the sides. You can kind of see there, and there's actually a little bit on the front. I usually try and clean it off the front of my. There's my finger. The front of my tank, but I'll keep it on the sides and the back. I did introduce some snails to kind of help clean that up as well. I put snails in all my tanks. I love snails. I'll kind of lean back here. As far as plants, it's lightly planted. I'm strongly considering adding some more. Maybe some Anubis. I don't know. Anubis is so played out, but I might add some Anubis, maybe a Lotus. Right now it's just Bulbitis and some Crinum. And I'm developing more algae than I would like, so I'll probably add some more plants here in the next month or so. These are just river stones I found in our yard. I just boiled them to clean them up and put them in the tank. Stack them in a way to create caves. These guys definitely like to hide in caves, and they've been doing some digging. Like this little female here has built her little cave under this rock here. That's kind of her spot. There's also been some digging under this rock here. If I can get my finger in the frame. Woo! Right there. But yeah, this rock setup gives them lots of places to hide and whatnot. And I might even add some more rocks. I don't know. Like I said, they're a little bit more aggressive than I would like, so I might need to create some more hiding spots here until I can diffuse the situation by maybe taking 2 males out. But yeah, they're very good eaters. Literally will have eaten everything I've given to them. Algae wafers, worms, flakes, pellets. They eat anything and everything and eat it with gusto. But yeah, I just love the way these guys look. They still have juvenile coloring. They really haven't darkened up fully, and their blue lip hasn't come out. But when it does, I just personally think it's one of the coolest looking fish. Very prehistoric looking in the coloring and whatnot. Yeah, fascinating fish. Endemic to the Volta River in Ghana. At some point, currently I'm renting this house currently. But in the next year or two, we'll probably be purchasing a home where I can have a more stable fish room type environment. And I do want to do a larger Volta River biotope type tank. This is just kind of a generic African type tank. I'm only putting plants native to Africa. Obviously the stones and the sand aren't. Yeah. I have these guys right next to my computer because I just really enjoy watching them. They're kind of my babies. Definitely my favorite of my collection. I keep the water temperature around 78 degrees. I haven't actually looked to see... You know, I haven't found a ton of information on the Volta River. Specifically, these guys apparently come from the rocky northern portion of that river system. And I just don't know a lot of good specifics about that area, about as far as temperatures, pH, that sort of thing. So I just kind of keep some generic numbers going in these guys, and you know, they seem happy and fine, and so I'm not gonna mess with it. They're pretty hardy fish, I think. So anyway, let's do a quick cleaning. You can check out the tank afterwards, and then we'll do a feeding, and you can watch us guys gobble up some worms, maybe. All right. Okay, water change complete. It's looking much clearer. Again, did get the algae off the sides. I like my algae. But yeah, tank's looking better. Let's feed them some Hikari bloodworms. One of the things I've noticed when I feed these guys is their color lightens up as soon as I drop food in the tank. So they switch between their dark coloration and their light, more juvenile coloration just instantaneously when food hits the tank. It's very interesting. Thanks for watching my quick little informational video about my Paragobiocichla Irvinei. That's a tough one to get out. I keep wanting to say Steatocranus. It's been Steatocranus for so long. Anyway, I love these fish. I think they're great. I look forward to having little baby Gobiochromous Irvinei here in the next year or so, probably. And I'll be taking you along for the journey as these guys grow up and keep you updated on how they're doing. If you have any questions, if you want to know anything more about this particular tank or just general stuff, please leave them in the comments below. I'll answer everything. And stay tuned as we do updates of this fish, and I kind of show you some of my other things as well, and future projects. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.